Welcome to the deep dive. You've sent us down another really interesting path this time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, sparked by a YouTube video. Meet Longinus, the ancient thinker who gave us the Sublime from the Beyond the Margins channel. It features Dr. Dash Dat.
Ah, Longinus. Yes.
And it's all about this ancient Greek idea of the sublime. And honestly, it feels, well, surprisingly relevant to how we experience powerful stuff today, you know? Communication, art.
Absolutely. It's funny, though, because Longinus himself is still a bit of a mystery, isn't he?
He really is.
We think maybe a philosopher, 1st century AD, but the work itself on the Sublime probably pops up like centuries later.
Yeah, around the 5th century.
Wow. So there's a gap.
A big one. And that distance, it almost like adds to the whole mystique of these ideas that have lasted so long, don't you think?
Totally. It really
Yeah.
does. And this core idea, this Sublime, as Dr. Dead explains it, it's like encountering something huge, beautiful, powerful. It just blows you away. That wow moment.
That flash of insight, kind of like those aha moments we're always looking for when we're trying to understand things.
Exactly. That feeling of sudden clarity.
And for our listeners who are obviously really curious and chasing those same kinds of intellectual sparks, Longinus, well, he offers a surprisingly modern angle, actually.
He really does. So yeah, our deep dive today is basically unpacking what Longinus thought made writing, not just good, but truly great.
Yeah.
Timeless.
Right.
And it's pretty amazing that these ancient ideas actually helped shape how people thought about art and books way later during the Romantic period.
No kidding, the romantic.
Yeah, hundreds of years later. So we're talking about a really fundamental concept here.
Okay, so let's really dig into it then. Sublimity. According to Longinus, what was it for him? Why was it so important in judging literature?
Well, for Longinus, sublimity was pretty much the gold standard. It was the key marker,
Yeah.
the thing that separated the truly great stuff from just, ordinary writing.
So like a special quality.
Exactly. It's that quality that hooks you, makes a text feel significant, interesting, remarkable, even alluring, makes you pay attention, motivates you to keep reading.
So it's not just about like checking boxes for grammar or style, it's something deeper.
Much deeper. Longinus believed the fundamental greatness of any literary work depended, totally on its sublimity.
Huh.
He even argued that the things we often point to, how readable it is, how popular, how famous it stays over time, all that comes from its sublimity.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. You think about why some stories stick around for ages and others just vanish.
Right? Why are we still talking about Shakespeare? Or Milton, which the video mentions.
Yeah, good examples. We still study them, argue about them, find new things in them centuries later. Is that the sublimity?
That's exactly what Longinus would say. Their work has this grandeur, this emotional power, this depth of thought that still resonates.
Across different times, different cultures.
Yeah. This lasting power, he'd argue, it comes straight from their sublimity. It's not just that they're old, it's a quality in the work.
Okay, so it's not just about the words themselves, but how they hit us, the readers. What kind of effect did Longinus think sublimity had?
Oh, a huge effect.
Yeah.
Sublimity isn't just about passing on information. It's about stirring something up inside the reader.
Stirring things up how?
It brings out strong emotions, definitely. But more than that, he said, it lifts their minds. It inspires this feeling of grandeur, of wonder. It's an experience that kind of elevates you intellectually, emotionally.
You feel like you've touched something important.
Precisely.
The video brought up that quote, sublimity is the echo of a great soul. That's powerful. What did he mean by that?
Ah, yeah, that's central. He saw a direct line,
Mhm.
between the writer's inner self, their character, their spirit, and the quality of their work, especially its sublimity.
So like good writing comes from good people,
Yeah.
or great writing from great souls.
Kind of, yeah. He basically said a magnificent piece of writing comes from a magnificent person. The greatness you feel in the work mirrors a greatness inside the writer.
Interesting. So it's not just technique.
No, not just technique. It's like an outpouring of something profound within the artists themselves.
So the level of sublimity in the writing is almost like a measure of the writer's own inner greatness.
In a sense, yes. He's not just looking at the text alone. He sees it as coming from the person who made it.
Right.
And as the video points out, this sublimity, this quality, often leads to the writer becoming popular, respected, famous for a long time.
So it's a cycle. Inner greatness, great art, lasting admiration.
Pretty much, yeah. That seems to be the idea, a reinforcing cycle.
Okay, got it. So sublimity is the ultimate quality. What did Longinus say were the key ingredients? What makes a work sublime?
Right. He pinpointed 5 main sources, you could say, 5 things that contribute. First one, grandeur of thought.
Grandeur of thought.
Yeah. The writer needs to be dealing with big, important ideas. Thoughts that are original, deep, not just shallow or trivial stuff. You can't get sublimity from talking about, nothing important. Needs intellectual weight.
Makes sense. You need a solid foundation of meaning. Okay, what's number 2?
Number 2 is capacity for strong emotions. The writer has to be able to feel things deeply, powerfully, and that feeling has to come through in the writing.
So it's not just thinking big thoughts.
No, it's also about connecting with the reader emotionally. On a gut level, you need to make the reader feel it, not just understand it.
So big thoughts, big feelings. Got it. What's third?
Third is the proper formation of figures. Basically, using things like metaphors, similes, rhetorical devices effectively.
Ah, figures of speech.
Exactly. But not just for decoration. When used well, they can actually crank up the grandeur of the ideas and the emotional punch. It's about using language in a way that elevates the message.
Right. So how you say it matters, how you craft the language to carry the ideas and feelings. Okay, what are the last 2?
Fourth is noble diction. Choosing your words carefully.
Diction, word choice.
Yep. Picking words that are dignified, elevated, fitting for the subject. The sound, the weight of the words themselves can add to that sublime feeling, like choosing a really strong verb,
Okay. And the last one?
And number 5 is dignified and elevated composition. How you put it all together. The arrangement of the words, the ideas, the rhythm, the flow, the whole structure of the piece, that plays a huge part in its impact.
Wow. So it's everything together. Big ideas, deep feelings, powerful language, careful word choice, and putting it all together artfully.
Exactly. It's holistic. And Longinus thought that if writers aimed for that, through all those elements working together, they could really move people, create those deep emotional responses, and make something that lasts.
And what about the effects? When you encounter true sublimity, what does it do for you long term, beyond just that initial wow?
Well, Longinus said true sublimity gives you this deep, lasting joy, a kind of noble feeling, an exaltation. It's not just fleeting pleasure, it sticks with you. And crucially, he believed it was universal, timeless. It has the power to move anyone, anywhere, anytime. It cuts across cultures and history.
The video mentioned the Ramayana and Mahabharata again here. Why them?
Yeah, good examples, because think about it, those huge epics. They're still told, retold, reinterpreted, felt deeply by millions across different places, different centuries.
Yeah.
Their massive scope, how they explore basic human stuff, the powerful emotions. They tap into something fundamental. That fits perfectly with Longinus' idea of universal, timeless appeal, deeply resonant.
Okay, so that's the goal. What about the things that get in the way? What did Longinus warn writers against doing if they wanted to achieve sublimity?
Ah, yes, the pitfalls. He pointed out a few key ones. First is turgidity.
Turgidity. Sounds bad.
It is. It's when you're aiming for grandeur, but you just end up sounding bombastic, overblown, insincere, like trying too hard.
Exactly. Like you're putting on a show instead of being genuinely powerful. Sublimity needs sincerity. Real feeling. Just puffing things up doesn't work. It actually kills it. So there's a line between real grandeur and just being over the top. Got it. What else?
Second drawback, puerility, which basically means childishness. Triviality in your thoughts or how you express them.
So shallow ideas again.
Yeah, or expressing them in the simplistic, immature way. Sublime works need substance, depth. Can't build them on flimsy foundations.
Okay. Weight and significance are key. Next pitfall.
The third is something he called parenthesis, which in this context means throwing in emotional outbursts where they don't really belong or aren't earned.
Like forcing the emotion? Making it melodramatic?
Yep, exactly. Overdoing it when it feels fake or out of place. The emotion needs to feel real and right for the moment in the writing. Calculated almost.
Right. Emotional honesty and knowing how to use it makes sense.
Precisely. And the last big one he mentioned is frigidity.
Frigidity, like
Coldness.
basically a lack of real feeling, emotional coldness in the writing. To get sublimity, the writer needs to be sensitive, feel things. If there's no genuine feeling there, the work won't connect, won't move the reader. Okay, those make sense. Insincerity, shallowness, faking emotion, lacking empathy. Yeah, those would definitely stop a work from feeling truly profound. Did he mention any other common mistakes?
Yeah, the video touches on a few others quickly. Things like just a lack of originality. Hard to be sublime if you're just rehashing old ideas.
True.
Also, excessive ornamentation. Too much fancy style that just gets in the way, hides the actual ideas.
Style over substance.
Right, and inappropriate emotional engagement, kind of like parenthesis, but maybe the emotion just doesn't fit the subject at all.
Yeah.
Or using simple language when the topic really demands something more elevated to achieve that impact.
Right, you need the right tool for the job.
Exactly. And finally, just unclear ideas. If the writer isn't clear in their own head, it's going to come across as confusing, and you definitely won't get that sublime clarity.
Wow. So achieving sublimity, it sounds like a really delicate balance. You need the deep thoughts, the powerful but sincere expression, real emotional depth, and maybe just that certain spark from the writer, too.
Absolutely. It's not a formula you can just follow,
Yeah.
not a checklist. It's more like a coming together,
Yeah.
a harmony of all these different things. And when they do come together just right, that's when you get that truly sublime, transformative experience for the reader.
Well, this has been genuinely enlightening, diving into Longinus and the Sublime. It's amazing how these ancient ideas still feel so relevant when you think about what makes communication, well, work, what makes it stick with you.
Right.
It's definitely not just about sounding fancy or impressive.
Not at all.
It's having something real to say and saying it in a way that connects deeply, moves you, maybe even inspires you.
Precisely. And for everyone listening, those of you who are really into learning and chasing those aha moments,
Yeah.
understanding this idea of sublimity, it gives you a great lens, a framework for appreciating why some things, communication, art, whatever, have such a powerful impact.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think about a piece of writing, maybe a speech, a movie, a song, something that really moved you deeply. No, try looking at it through Longinus's eyes. Using these ideas, what might have contributed to its sublimity? Can you spot the grand ideas or moments of elevated language, that powerful emotional resonance?
That's a great exercise.
Yeah, it's just a fascinating way to think more deeply about the stuff that really stays with us. Thanks for diving deep with us today.